as you are all aware, South Texas has no law school. The nearest law school we have is located in San Antonio, Texas, which is over 400 miles away. But it wasn't always like this. In the 1980s, an unaccredited law school named Reynaldo Garza School of Law operated in the Rio Grande Valley, providing a legal education to a community that was deprived. It wasn't easy for these Reynaldo Garza Law School graduates who had to fight to allow the Texas Supreme Court to allow them to sit and take the Texas bar to become lawyers. However, due to lack of funding and the political winds, the Reynaldo Garza School of Law had to ultimately shut down. As it stands now, the Rio Grande Valley is one of the very few high population areas in our state that does not have a law school. House Bill 695 was recently filed in hopes of bringing a law school to South Texas and once again giving our area a school of law.
Hello everybody, we're back with the Ef'n Sunny Show. Today we've got one of my favorite people in Hidalgo County. We've got Judge Arnoldo Cantu here, County Court 5 Judge. And we're going to talk to him a little bit about the bill that is being pushed through, or has been filed with our legislature for a new law school in the Rio Grande Valley. And a lot of people don't know that there was a law school in the Rio Grande Valley many years ago. Judge, don't get after me for saying many years ago, but it was in fact many years ago, right?
Well, it's been a while.
Judge, that law school was called the Reynaldo Garza School of Law. Am I correct on that?
That's correct. It was named after the first Hispanic federal judge. Judge Reynaldo G. Garza was here in Brownsville, and he was appointed by President Kennedy. That's how far back the appointment goes. And the school was named after him. He was still with us at the time. He actually came to visit the school once or twice. And that was a big thrill for the law students. I'm aware of the bill that was filed by State Representative Armando Martinez. I've spoken to Mr. Martinez a couple of times. I've spoken to the other members of the Valley delegation. I spoke to State Representative Terry Canales, Sergio Munoz, Bobby Guerra. I've spoken to them, and they seem like they're all in favor of it. I spoke to Senator Hinojosa, and he's telling me that there may be a funding issue because there's a lot of emphasis being placed on the medical school. And as a matter of fact, I just spoke to Representative Martinez a couple of days ago. He thinks the bill looks good, but I don't think the Senate is going to, I don't think the House is going to be the problem. I think it's going to come after that in the Senate. And I did speak with Senator Hinojosa. I've not been able to get a hold or get with Senator Lucio, but I think if we can get them on board and talk to, it doesn't have to be A&M. It can be Texas Southern. It can be, Texas Tech, I think, have expressed interest sometime back. It doesn't matter who. Funding doesn't have to be an issue. When Reynaldo Garza School of Law got started back in the early 80s, it started in Brownsville as a night school. Mm-hmm. And what the administration did is that they had a couple of full-time professors, but they hired adjunct professors from the community, attorneys that maybe specialized in an area of law, got brought in to teach at night. And I've talked to people, Mr. Molina and Mr. Garza, and they're kind of like me. They like the idea of having educational opportunities for the young people, and predominantly young people are the ones that go to law school, although sometimes, people that have already gotten an established career go to law school. But I like the idea of having that opportunity for our valley.
Sure.
For too long, we've been denied.
And Judge Cantu,
Yes,
you used the word opportunity. And I think just that word opportunity, when I think of it and I think about all of the great lawyers that the Reynaldo Garza School of Law created, did it allow certain people to attend law school that otherwise wouldn't? Like yourself.
I graduated high school and started attending. At that time, it was Pan American University. And I started as a pre-law major. It happened that I got off of the pre-law major and got sidetracked into, I think it was social work, and then ended up focusing on elementary ed. I actually became a school teacher, graduated from Pan Am and became a school teacher. But I always had that idea that I wanted to go to law school. Well, a couple of years after I graduated from college, I got married, and my wife and I started a family. And then it was, forget about going to law school. I've got a job. I've got a family. We've got a mortgage. But Reynaldo Garza came along. They started in Brownsville the first year. The second year, they moved to Edinburgh. And it was at night. And I'm like, all right, I can do this. Mm-hmm. So I tell people during the day I was a teacher, and during the night I was a student. And Mr. Molina, a lot of my fellow students, had it not been for the fact that there was an opportunity to go to night school, would never have gone to law school. They would not have packed the family up and moved to Houston or San Antonio or, Lubbock or Dallas. They just wouldn't have done it. It would have been too expensive. And I'm trying to push on our state delegation the idea that we can do this here. We can present our young people with an opportunity to get a higher degree, a higher, education, get a new career, a career that's going to allow them to help people and the community, and hopefully do it right here in Hidalgo County. I'm pushing the idea that to keep it a little more cost efficient, maybe start it out as a night school. A&M has a law school. A&M has facilities here in Edinburgh. It would not be a big stretch, I don't think, for them to set aside a couple of classrooms and say, okay, we're going to have night school. Take care of the day school, open it up at night, bring some of our area young people that have been admitted to come and study law. What excites me is the idea of giving our young people here in deep South Texas the opportunity to go to a professional school. And you know how it is in the past. Young people would go off to college, get familiar with their surroundings, like the environment, finish their degree, and then just not come back.
And Judge Cantu, how many county court judges besides yourself are currently sitting on the bench that graduated from Reynaldo Garza?
Court number 1, Judge Rudy Gonzalez is a Garza grad. Court number 2, Jay Palacios is a Garza grad. Court number 4, Fred Garza is a Garza grad. And court number 5, you see it on TV, they go like this. Court number 5, myself. I am also a Reynaldo Garza School of Law graduate.
Wow. And it's almost unimaginable to us, Judge Cantu, that if that law school wasn't here, none of those judges would be sitting like on those benches right now.
I can tell you that Judge Rudy at the time was working as a nurse. Judge Rudy is a registered nurse and married and raising a family. It would have been very difficult for him to just pack up and move to go to law school. Judge Jay was employed by the school district and, probably would have been very difficult for him to pack up and go to law school. Judge Fred Garza, same situation. It was a real blessing for us. And I'm saying the entire student body, because everybody, well, not everybody, I'd say about 96% of the student body was fully employed during the day in business and education, and everybody was working. It would have been very, very difficult for about 96% of the student body to just pack up and go to law school. So we were very, very lucky to have that school down here.
What's even more interesting about the fact that we have so many judges who graduate from that school on the bench currently is that correct me if I'm wrong, Judge, but it only graduated one graduating class. Isn't that correct?
No.
No?
It was a 4-year night class.
Okay.
And I got into it the second year, which is the year that they relocated to Edinburgh. The first year class had students from Cameron County, Hidalgo County, Willacy County, and Starr County. I mean, there was some interest down here. The first graduating class was already going into their 4th year. And we still had not gotten accredited. We were trying to merge with a flagship college or university that could carry us through the legislature and the accreditation process. Pan American was interested, and they could have had a law school. But I think the funding statewide was low, and they just weren't willing to give money to a university to, acquire a law school. It was a beautiful effort on behalf of the administration, the professors, and the student body, Mr. Garza. Everybody was making calls. Everybody was trying to promote the school, the idea of accreditation. We went up to the state legislature when they were in session and got creative. We handed out a bottle of ketchup to every state rep in that hall. And the deal was, let South Texas catch up with the rest of the state. It didn't happen. But because we were raising so much public interest, we came back to school and we had 4 of the state Supreme Court justices come and pay us a visit. And they came to pay us a visit because, Garza had been in the news a lot, and the efforts that were being made by the administration and the professors and the student body. And 4 of the state Supreme Court justices came to visit with the student body and the professors and look at the facilities. It was remarkable. The justices came into the library and the entire student body fit in the library with the justices. There just wasn't that many of us, and we had a question and answer session with the Supremes, and they come to find out that there was a lot of heart and a lot of desire in the student body to be able to sit for the bar exam. to get accredited, but we couldn't get accredited. There wasn't any money in the state. The justices went back, and under their authority, they issued a ruling, and the ruling stated that the people that graduated within the next 2 years from Garza School of Law would be able to sit for the bar exam. So that covered the first year class because they were getting ready to graduate. I was in the second year class. It would have covered me too, but the school got creative. They started offering summer classes. Just about everybody in my class took summer courses and accelerated. Instead of graduating the following year in May, we were able to graduate that December. And the class that was behind us took the classes in summer, and they were able to accelerate and graduate within the 2 years. So it was a lot of effort. It was just a really, really good time. I mean, a lot of stress and, oh, don't forget you have a job, and don't forget you're raising kids, and you got bills to pay.
And Judge Cantu, what was that feeling like? Because you've had two separate feelings. You had that first feeling where you graduate from law school and you're like, okay, I did this. Now I'm going to take the bar. And then they tell you, no, you've graduated from an unaccredited law school. We're not going to let you sit for the bar.
Yeah. It was not a surprise, Mr. Molina. From day one, when you applied to go to school, the dean at the time, his name was Michael DeMoss. The dean sat down with you one-to-one and said, look, we're not accredited. It's foreseeable that you go to school, complete all the requirements, graduate, and not be able to take the bar. It's foreseeable. But he said, I can tell you, we're going to make every effort humanly possible to get the accreditation. So it was a big risk, and it was a risk that you undertook fully aware of what the consequences could be. You know, you've got that in the back of your head when you're taking your first year con law, your first year torts, your first year classes, you know, that's in the back of your mind. I need to pass this class, and oh, by the way, I don't know if I'm going to be able to sit for the bar. Oh, and I'm administering a test to my kids tomorrow at school. So, I mean, it was a very trying time for everybody. But, you know, we were fully aware of the status. We were fully aware of what the consequences could be. But we tried. And I think back to a really good time, Mr. Molina. The administration, the professors, and the student body were very, very united in the goal of let's get this school accredited. Not just for us, but for the people that are going to follow us. And we wanted a law school for the Valley, and we wanted to be able to graduate, and we wanted to be able to take the bar exam. Dean DeMoss wrote a little book about what went on during the law school. And it was, he titled the book, The Newest Little Law School in Texas. It's available through Amazon. The dean doesn't pull too many punches. It was amazing how people in positions of authority and power up north did not want this school to happen. They did not want this school to, you know, come to fruition. Dean DeMoss, and I call him Dean, his first name is Michael DeMoss, but he puts in the preface that it is a fictionalized account of how the school started. And I know why he did that from the legal standpoint. They can't sue you if you call it a fictionalized account.
Right.
You know, there's no defamation there, you know, but he does not pull any punches. He does not pull any punches. And it was when you read about it, you lived it at the time, but when you read about it, it makes you mad. You know, how dare somebody from San Antonio and north try to dictate what we should have for our young people down here. It's like, wait a minute, you know, why is the ground holier from San Antonio north than what it is down here? Our kids deserve just as much as an opportunity as the kids that, you know, are close to UT or close to Baylor. It's like, hey, what about us down here? And some of our young people still have to work to help the household. You know, we're not very rich down here, you know, and when there's an opportunity for somebody to climb, they climb, because we're like that down here. We like to get after it. You know, we want to get something, but give us the opportunity. And that's what we want. I think it would be a wonderful blessing to have a school of higher education down here besides the medical school, you know, and I can see where they want to prioritize that because it's already got a foothold.
Just got to, there's one thing that I've seen that strikes me out. When I go to the courthouse and I look at the old pictures of the Hidalgo County Bar, the more current you get, the more browner those pictures start becoming. And were there a lot of Hispanics that were in like that school?
One of the things that was going on was that upstate, Reynaldo Garza School of Law had been labeled a law school for militant Mexican Americans. Militant Mexican Americans. And I'm like, I'm not militant. I want to study law. I want to become an attorney, and I want to provide for my family and my community, and just, you know, but, you know, they were painting it like that. And it wasn't a 50-50 mix in the student body. You know, we had Anglos, we had Hispanics. Everybody was focused on making the grade and what can we do to get this school accredited. There was not a whole lot of militants there, and there was such a spirit of cooperation with the student body. Everybody had a goal, and it was the same goal. Everybody wanted to see this school get accredited.
And then you look at some of the things that, you know, I guess there would be consequential to the fact that you were allowed to go, that you were able to go to law school at night. You were able to take the bar. And Judge, you have kids who are lawyers, right? Who knows? They may not have been inspired to be lawyers had their father not been a lawyer.
When my kids turned 16, I'd bring them to work for during the summer. And I kind of wanted them to be exposed. I did not demand that my children go to law school, but I did demand that they go to school. And I was an educator during the day and a student at night. I became a lawyer. 2 of my children became educators and 2 of my children became attorneys. And I thought that was cool.
Although the Reynaldo Garza School of Law closed down locally, it does have a sister school that's doing pretty well, right, Judge Cantu? Can you tell us about that?
I'll tell you that story. When Reynaldo Garza was operating, we had a student from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He would fly down Monday, go to school Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, fly back to Dallas, take care of business, come back to Edinburgh Monday, go to school Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. I mean, it was hard for the guy because he was flying down here and flying up every week. So he got creative and got with the administration and said, hey, let me take the Garza charter and open a branch in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And they worked out the details, and the school said, okay. So he started the Dallas-Fort Worth School of Law. The very first day of school, they had registered more total students than we had enrolled in 4 years of Garza.
Wow.
So, I mean, there was just a lot of people that wanted to go to law school up there. And they got started, and they were running, and they had professors, and they ran for a few years. And then Wesleyan College or Wesleyan University merged with them, and they became Wesleyan School of Law. And remind you that this started with the Garza Charter. So Wesleyan got a law school, and they ran that law school for 10 or 12 years. And then about 6 or 7 years ago, A&M decided that they wanted a law school. So they went to Wesleyan and said, hey, we'd like to buy your law school. And they worked out a deal. And Wesleyan Law School became Texas A&M School of Law in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And it all started with, let me take the charter for Garza and open a branch up there.
So it's Texas A&M Law has its roots from Reynaldo Garza School of Law. That is so interesting.
Yeah, it is. I've spoken to the dean from A&M School of Law, Dean Ajay, wonderful person. I actually convinced him last year to come and talk to some of the students from one of our local school districts about what it takes to get into law school and, what it's going to take for them to, be able to succeed in law school. And I spoke to the dean. I said, hey, Dean, we need you to come down here and open up a branch. Just like we went up there to open up a branch.
Right.
We need A&M to come down here. But it's something that I've been pushing for a while. And like I said, I've spoken to the Valley delegation, and I sure would like to see something for our young people down here.
If they're citing funding as the issue as to why it can't happen, I'm thinking now, post-COVID lockdown and all the technology that we've all gotten accustomed to using, now would be the best time to figure out how to put that technology to work to cut costs down. I can imagine the Socratic method would be still pretty difficult to use over Zoom, right? But Ef'n still gets yelled by judges every day, so it's just a difference.
Yeah,
yeah. But if you turn off the screen on me, you're going to hear about it. It's a great thrill for me, the educator in me, to see a young person climbing and learning and you learn every day. You try to learn something new, and I've always enjoyed helping young people learn, and that's why I'm so interested and invested in having another educational opportunity available for our area. I know that, and I told the reps, I told all of them, I said, it's not going to be a funding issue. We just got to push for it. We can make it happen, either Zoom it or night school it, or, there's ways around it. We can make it happen if we just put our heads together.
I don't know about you, Sonny, but I see these judges in a totally different light now. As judges, we see them as referees.
Right.
And with Judge Cantu telling us their story on how they fought so hard to sit for the bar and pushing through, you guys are fighters.
That's very true. I mean, I don't know about I don't know about Ef'n, but I know, talking to you, Judge, I now realize, I take for granted that I got to sit for the bar so easily. Bar was awful, and everyone, but it's something you got to do, and so to have to fight to take the bar and then go through the bar, man.
But you have to pass your classes.
Right.
You have to show up. Don't forget, you got to go to work in the morning, and the kids are looking for you. It was not a downhill slide for any of us.
And
Right.
Judge Cantu, how there's going to be maybe some law school some students that want to go to law school, like watching this, like other lawyers watching it, private citizens. What can they do to help push this law school forward?
Well, our legislators need to know that there is a broad base of support. I've had members of school districts mention to me, hey, if they need a place to have class, we will make space for them at one of our high schools. You know, if they want to use it during the day or during the night, we will make space for a law school. Everybody seems to be invested in trying to provide opportunities for our young people down here. I love that. We just need to make it happen. So I would say, call your state rep, call your senator, let them know that this bill is coming through and we want to make it happen.
Please hold while I connect your beat.